It's Talk Funny, a podcast by Mark Bailey and other comics from all over. We ended up in Japan because our favorite national anthem is Kimi ga Yo Mama. The Talk Funny podcast from NagoyaRadio.com and Nagoya Comedy. Here's Mark Bailey.
So welcome to another edition of Talk Funny. I'm Mark Bailey, and we had some problems, some viral problems, not going viral, but we had computer virus problems, and I just want to say, Microsoft Teams, you can go to hell. Screw you, Microsoft Teams. Microsoft Teams took over my PC and my spare PC and basically disconnected all the sound cards, disconnected all the apps that I had, disconnected my sound recording software. Didn't recognize the speakers or the microphone. Anyway, we're back, and what I thought I would do right now is go back to the heyday of Radio I, when I was really pissing off my superiors. They didn't know anything about radio, and so I just did whatever I wanted because I was the only guy there. I was the only guy there that knew how to run the board. The other one was Dave Yanessa. I was the only other guy. And we can run the board and do our show without any engineers, directors, or interference at all. So we had an assistant, and she didn't know anything about music or engineering or radio or anything. She was just there to basically spy on us, like in case we were drinking on the job, which we never did. So I'm going to play just a little message from David Byrne that I made fun of, and I'll also play the famous Goofy story, which I still sometimes do on stage. The Goofy story. From now on, you'll know what we're talking about. The Goofy story. And in my will, I leave this Goofy story to either Mike Miller or Steve Howard. I haven't decided which one yet. It's legendary. I hope you enjoy it. We're rerunning it from my shows on radio on Talk Funny.
Faith No More, back in New York, had them in the studio once, and we were calling them Bays No More. It was that bad. 12 minutes at the 12 o'clock, 12. They had that whole hippie vibe going, you know what I mean? 17.1 degrees in the middle of Jonathan. It's you know. Thanks so much for listening to us. Now, a weather report from David Byrne. He reports that there's water at the bottom of the ocean. We are checking on that as we continue. We'll let you know if that turns out not to be the case. Talking Heads, once in a lifetime of Radio I.
You may find yourself living in a...
We have New York now coming up in about 16 minutes. Don't you touch that dial. Canadian band now, Our Lady Peace. And somewhere out there, but enough about, finding a competent agent. Hard to do. 12:20, 17 degrees in the Midlands. Radio I.
Last time I talked...
Nagoya 79.5, Toyohashi 83.0, and Hamamatsu 79.9.
Chester Bennington, no. New project, Dead by Sunrise. What's up, Chester Bennington? No. Lincoln Park, no. Bucarest, no. Top 48, less than 12 minutes to get to your 1 o'clock destination. Mike and the Mechanics. They couldn't fix their career, though, could they? Whatever happened to those guys? They ran out of gas. See what I did there with Mechanics? They ran out of gas. All I need is a miracle. Yeah, that's all I need. A miracle and a bagel would be good. Don't have a bagel? A miracle only, yeah. I can be a miracle if I get a pay raise, yeah. Top 48. Thanks for listening to us with Radio I.
Thanks for your request, but here's Mark Bailey anyway.
And we're back with another segment of Radio Talk, the world's only talk show about radio. So before we run out of time, staff around here is asking me, they love to hear the Goofy story. All right, so here's the Goofy story. It's kind of bizarre in the fact that I'm arguing with my wife about Goofy, but it's also was troubling to me her point, what she was arguing about Goofy, and what it meant, what it means for us, and generally Japanese wives in general here in Japan, and how they trust or don't trust people. Just the way they think, it just wallowed me, it just surprised me. So here we are, we're at home. I'm going through some photos, and I showed my wife. Here's a photo of me. I'm 10 years old. We went to Disney World with the family. Of course, I didn't know my wife then. Boy, if I could go back in time. So anyway, I didn't know my wife then, and of course, I was 10. And I'm sitting in a baby carriage. And I have a shocked look on my face, and my parents took the picture then. So my wife said, "What happened? Why are you in a baby carriage?" And I said, "Well, it turned out to be a happy ending to the story. Fortunately, there was no baby there, but I said, I was pushed into the baby carriage by Goofy at Disney World, because I was standing there to get my picture taken by my parents. They wanted to take a picture of me in front of a castle, and Goofy came in, and he's turning this way and turning that way. And of course, I'm looking toward the camera, so no one warns me. And he's turning this way and that way. And there's lots of people rallying to get his attention. So he's topsy-turvy. He's turning all different directions, flailing his arms back and forth. And by the way, this isn't a real goofy. This is a part-time worker who's probably about ready to end his shift. Probably needs a cigarette break. Probably doesn't really care. Really takes pictures at night. He probably does not like his job. Probably hates his job. I know I would if I was playing goofy. If I had to dress up in that. It's a hot costume, I'm sure. And it was a hot day. So I'm sure he was, not paying a lot of attention. So anyway, he knocked me. He didn't see me, and he knocked me. He moved his arm backwards and then turned. So he's just wiping people out. He pushed me, pushed some other people. And one of the people he pushed was me. I was able to see what was going on because he pushed me. Well, it pushed me from the side in a direction that landed me, took us in a baby carriage that someone was holding. And luckily, they were holding the baby, so the baby was not a baby carriage. Now, had I landed on the baby could have been hurt. I wouldn't have been hurt. I was 10. But the baby could have been hurt. That's, what are you when you're 10? 90 pounds, 80 pounds, 100 pounds? I don't know. But it wouldn't have been good for the baby. So it was actually, I thought it was a happy ending. And, fortunate that no one got hurt due to the negligence of Goofy, basically. So my wife's response was, well, Goofy doesn't have eyes in the back of his head. Excuse me, you witch, excuse me? You're defending, let me get this straight. I'm 10 years old, and you don't even take my side then. You're defending Goofy? And I had to remind her, I said, this is not the real, we're not talking about the real Goofy. You're not defending the real Goofy. You're defending some part-time guy who hated his job, who is not paying attention and should have been paying attention with lots of children around. I'm sure he should have training about that. And he knows there's baby carriages and there's people around. He should know better than to flail his arms around. Now, when I told that story, I didn't blame Goofy. But since you want to put the blame on someone, let's blame Goofy. It's not a 10-year-old's fault. I was 10. You can't even take my side when I'm 10? That's what really, really made me look at things in a different light. It's like, are you kidding me? I could have been one of the guys who tried to poison Hitler, and then she would defend, well, he has a right to drink his soup. I mean, come on, lady. So women, defend your husbands. You don't have to attack us all the time. As George Carlin says, if a married man's walking in the forest alone, is he still wrong? It's Radio Talk. Radio.com and the bilingual Japan Network. I got a microphone. Thanks for listening. We'll be right back.
Radio Talk, the only talk show in the world about radio. NagoyaRadio.com. Radio Talk, the only talk show in the world about radio. Thanks for your requests, but here's Mark Bailey anyway. The new NagoyaRadio.com.
And we're back on Radio Talk, but that's my point. I mean, I'd love to get other people's perspectives on this. Most of the married guys I talk to related to the fact that, they have other stories where they were not in the wrong and the wife blames them. The wife, some guy gets stopped 18 times in 3 months on his bicycle by a policeman. It's his bicycle. The policeman keeps stopping him. So his wife says to him, well, you must be doing something wrong. I just told you I wasn't doing anything wrong, the guy says. I just told you I wasn't doing anything wrong. But the wife goes, well, the policeman wouldn't stop you just for the fun of it. And she's never heard of the expression driving while black. And I think if you have that happen to you, you probably would be more understanding. Of course, if it happened to her in the U.S., it would be worthy of a headline story. It'd be the biggest news in the world because it happens to you. See, what happens to other people, not so important. So if you missed this story, basically, I was pushed into a baby carriage by a careless part-time worker with a Goofy suit on, at Disney World. Wasn't even the real Goofy. My wife is defending, not even the real Goofy. I can understand you're defending the actual Mickey Mouse entity against me, the actual Goofy against me. No, you're defending someone she's never even met, and not taking the side of her husband and provider. It's amazing. It's just amazing. Is there a lower form of disgust? I'm just disgusted with that. Unbelievable. So my staff gets a big kick out of hearing that story because it's unusual to hear someone get so agitated and keep saying the word Goofy. It's very... I get it. Thank you so much for listening. It's Radio Talk on NagoyaRadio.com with the bilingual Japan Network. Radio Talk is the only radio talk show about radio in the entire world. Go ahead, Google it. We'll wait. No, we won't. We'll be right back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Thanks for listening to NagoyaRadio.com.
I tried to be perfect, but nothing was worth it.
We were just playing some old stuff from my radio days, things that got me in trouble, and I still use the Goofy story on stage because it's just so ridiculous, screaming and arguing about Goofy, who's not real. Not that I linger on that. No, I'm not even resentful about it. I almost never talk about it. Thank you so much. I'm Mark Bailey. Check us next time for Talk Funny on NagoyaRadio.com sponsored show, Talk Funny.